Hello, video number three. So I decided to come back to figure number two finally because I felt that it was kind of relevant to speak about the same theme all in a row, kind of. And so today I want to talk about the confusion we can have when we're following intuition. I think the last video was about going against mainstream, following this inner voice we had within ourselves. And if for some people, maybe it might be easier. For most of us who have a strong mind, it might be more challenging because the mind contradict or confuse us. We're questioning ourselves because we are constant. The monkey mind is always there to argue with the voice of the intuition. The way I could distinguish them is that the intuition has no beginning and no end, and is just a calling, a knowing, either a direction, a place, an event, or something that has a point but no stories. And the mind has a beginning, as a middle, and as an end, a conclusion. And this make us feel safe. The ego mind wants to know where it's coming from, where it's going, what's going to be the impact, what's going to be the reward, and therefore I'm going to go there. So for instance, my education, oh, if I study hard, then I will have good grade, then I will have a good job. If I work hard, then I will have a promotion, etc. And all our society is built on conditioning that reinforce this mindset. But at the same time, if we're accumulating all those mainstream conditioning, and for some reason we're one of the few lucky one, and it feels right to us, then there's no problem to it. But the way I would label it is that if we go shop for shoes and there would be only three sizes, small, medium, big, and I think at least back in the old days, mainstream shoes seem to have fit 80 to maybe 90% of the people. Everyone was okay to wear a little bit too big, a little bit too small. And even if it was not perfect, it was fine enough. And what I mean by that is that the system of education, the system of working 9 to 5 was suiting or the older generation at least 95%. And every new generation were not okay to have such a strict a lifestyle anymore. Most of us don't work all our life in a one business. All of us not ending up with marrying the person that we first dated when when we're in high school. And there's many reasons for that, and I'm not going to go too much in details. But what it means is that we are expanding our awareness to what's available, and this understanding that more exists create the curiosity that we want to explore, that we want to know more about ourselves, and we're less strict about making commitment. And it has pros and cons, obviously, but I think it's not that the previous generation was better and ours is worse, and the Gen Z are a lot worse. It's just that we're evolving accordingly to our the phase of our evolution. And so where I feel we're at, I think there's a tendency toward this awakening. This awakening is that it could be term coined into spiritual term, but as well I think spirituality and all is label has a lot of it has a lot of stigma. And so I'm going to try to not use them too much, but at the same time I think it's fair to say that most people, even if we're fully stuck in the 9 to 5 into the the regular pathway of what is expected from us, most of us are usually feeling overwhelmed or not feeling that we're fitting. We're just not sure of what else is available to us. We're not strong and courageous enough to break free from what we're feeling stuck in it. And or maybe there's adversity coming from our partner, our family, our boss, and then we want to quit, but then they're always pulling us back, etc., etc. And also, when we are trying to step out from this mainstream pathway, so like some people are taking a year sabbatical, and then we're disconnecting ourselves, maybe finding ourselves elsewhere in a different environment, not working, and just living our life, and for long enough for us to decondition ourselves from the routine of working. Because if we're just going on vacation for a week or two, most people are just anxious of not doing anything anymore, and they're actually like craving to feel busy and go back to work, not because they like work, but because they're just like so uncomfortable to do nothing for the first time, or feeling unproductive. And and it's the same thing as eating fast food and trying to stop the first time. It creates an adverse reaction in the body that is so unhealthy, full of toxin, not because stopping eating fast food is bad for you, but just because body has got used to it so much that withdrawing it drastically in one shot create a trauma, a shockwave. But if like cocaine or like heroin, we pass through the cold turkey phase, and we're able to overcome the negative feeling or sensation that is experienced from cold turkeying ourselves out of toxin. Then eventually we find ourselves more healthy and more serene, with a new level of health. And it's the same spiritually. When we're stopping to be a acting like a machine, then we can feel more self and can breathe within ourselves. But there's going to be a lot of confusion into the process, and this is where I want to point out with this figure, is that when we hear, there's a time when we it's going to feel right, but there's a time when the ego mind is going to come back and feel worry again. Worry because we might run out of financial resources. We might worry about our parents, or might be a worry about our parents worrying about themselves. Maybe we have a family, maybe we have children, and it's not because we have to abandon them, but at the same time, if we're pulling our kids out of school because we are needing a pause, there's a lot also the parent, they're gonna argue, and then we gonna think that, oh, but I have to think about my kids that has to go to mainstream school, because we don't know that there's alternative way for us to raise our kid, etc. And what it means is just like it's a lot of noise that's gonna come out in our field to like make us question this inner calling to go further into an advanced seeker. And when I say advanced seeker, I'm not trying to like say that we have to go in a monastery, we have to go in a cave alone, isolated. It just means to follow more this intuition, and trying to move away from the noisy mind. The way I see it is that the conditioning works like in our head, like a movie. So if the old school of making movie is just, I think, 32 or 36 images per second, and if they're rotating quick enough, then they, for the speed of our eyes, they appear to me moving fluidly. So this, if I break it down into images, I think it's 32 or 36 images per second, and this appear to be an action movie. And so our thought work the same way. And no matter what they are, is like we're always having images frame our thought in a way that like, oh, I have to think about washing the laundry. I have to think about the what I have to buy for grocery. I have to think about what I have to do to make for lunch for my kid. I have to think, and all those thoughts end up being filling our mind like a movie, like a scene in a movie. And when we want to follow intuition, is that there's a crack between those frame of thought, and the advanced seeker is to create more space in between those thoughts, so we can come back to ourselves, come back to intuition, come back to the voice in ourselves, to our sensation, to our body, so we can allow more guidance from that's within ourselves. And that guidance is going to help us heal our body, heal our emotion, heal everything that is needed for us to be more free, and to just feel ourselves again, to be authentic within ourselves instead of acting what we thought we were based on society conditioning. And we do this with sattvic practice, and this is a little guy meditating, but there's many sattvic practice. Meditation is one of them, and yoga is one of them, and singing kirtan is one, mantra is one of them. There's many, and which one we should choose, I would say, is the same way as if somebody would want to lose weight, because they feel too fat, and they go to the gym and ask a trainer, which is the best way for me to lose weight. And the trainer, if he's a good trainer, should say that it doesn't matter. Losing weight physically is the same way as losing weight mentally. There's many ways, and the best way is the one that you are able to practice enthusiastically every single day. And so you can try all of them, and the one that you're able, or the one or two or three or many, if you're able to put it into your daily practice, if you're and then have a different lifestyle based on that new routine, then you'll necessarily lose weight either physically at the gym or mentally through sattvic practice. And this is what will allow the noise of the mind, the same way as the fat we accumulate, it's going to go away by just being active physically. And so in our head is about, it's about practicing what is filtering or moving thought and constant monkey mind in our head, instead of absorbing information through either a gadget or to work, or to like our head's functioning only because we only continue to absorb information, or we're repeating in our head stuff. So it's a repetition of information, either from externally, either from friends, family. Like, I mean, if your parents are saying something to your partner, saying something negative to you, and or you repeat it in your own head, repetition creates your own reality, but it's a false reality. And so the Sattvic practice, it's about removing the thought that we have in our head that create a sense of false reality and keep us unhappy and unhealthy. And what I wanted to say more about this is that we're gonna explore. I'm think I label myself as someone who is pragmatic, rational. I graduated my first degree at university in economy, and I was really good in mathematics. I think I'm really down to earth, and I've never been really connected with the esoteric. And I didn't even want to do anything with meditation or set practice before, all the way to 33 years old. And in the ego reality, I think I went to the gym. I started to go to the gym, I think it was 13, with my dad, and I think I've been regularly into like taking care of my body, and putting a lot of stuff into my head at school. I was really good at school, and so what I'm trying to get with this is that I had no connection, no attraction to the esoteric and the spiritual world. But at the same time, when I was 33, and actually I was 32, and I had 7 injury on my left side. Then because I couldn't be what I used to be, and it was kind of like I was begging for something to help me. That's when I opened my mind and my whole being for something new, and really quickly something new appeared to me, and it was this spiritual reality. And it came in different form, in form of book, in form of people, in form of course, in form of experiences, in form of yes, and all this shattered the reality and the understanding I had about myself and about the world. And it's really scary, and it's not just scary, it's like it's easy to doubt something that we don't know. Like, I don't know if you grew up in the West and that you want to travel in Asia, you think it's dangerous, you think that it's going to be difficult, you think you don't, and there's many things that you can preconceive based on like the little information you get from the media. But when you go to Asia for the first time, and then you realize not that bad, and even if it was challenging, you could figure it out, then it helps you to overcome the fear of traveling a second time. Same thing with rock climbing, same thing with driving, same thing with anything. There's a learning curve, and if you go too far, too fast, or you have a bad experience in the first few try, then you get traumatized, and then you don't want to try and then think it's dangerous. But if you are experiencing by yourself and nothing bad really happened, and then you can gain confidence, and then you can trust. For me, the first time I enter the spiritual world, it's like a discovery for my inner child, a discovery for my inner child, because we have a lot of trauma, we have a lot of baggage coming from the way we were brought up, that kind of creates blockage in the way we experience life, and also the way we relate to other people, mostly in intimate relationship. And and it create, we don't realize it, we think it's just not the right person, or there's something wrong with the person, or etc. But most of the time it's because there's healing that needs to be done, and it's a reflection about something that we haven't learned yet, or we haven't healed yet. And and entering the spiritual journey with the intention to heal an inner child is scary, because it's the unknown. And so what we have to learn is to hold the hand of our inner child, and be the parent for inner child somehow. I don't know if it makes sense, but this is a process I've been going through, and that has brought a lot of healing, a lot of understanding, a lot of forgiving, a lot of compassion, and just an ease as well into living life with more peace, with more love, more compassion toward the ones who are struggling. It's easy for us to not judge others, but everyone has a story, everyone has trauma, everyone has baggage that are we're dealing with. And when we have a different or a difficult experience with someone, a power struggle, a friction, a trigger, we always think that they're doing it to us, but it just happened as a result of being incompatible at that single moment for one subject, for one event. And most of the time, I don't think, unless they're psychopath, and even if they're psychopath, they probably have had issues in their youth, and they're just the expression of somebody who's trying to figure it out based on the background that they had, and we're doing the same. And if maybe I had the same experience, the same background, the same upbringing, I would be exactly the same as them. And so it's not that we should allow the people to hurt us, but at the same time, it is a process of just being more at peace within ourselves if we're not angry constantly at reality or are at the people that we are encountering every day of our life. And that could be foreigner, but it could be people close to us, like our partner, our parents, our children. I had a big curve of relearning to connect with my mother because she was really strict with me when I was younger. And for almost 15 years, we didn't really interact together because, as much as we love each other, it was too heavy. And she did her work, I did my work. And now we're spending, for the last, I think, 13 years at least, except during COVID, we spend at least few months every year together in the same house. I'm traveling with my mom every year now for the last 13 years because we both did our work. And then we're able, I'm at least now I'm able to speak my boundaries to and to not blame her if I need something or she does something I don't like, but to make her understand that I'm different, that I need something different, and that I need respect for her for what I need. And I do the same with my partner. It's a bit more difficult to admit, but at the same time, it's easier for me to be me, and this is what's important. We're different, we are maybe broken, we're maybe not perfect, but we have to accept ourselves, we have to love ourselves, and the journey that we're going through as a seeker is to find ourselves, who we are, to accept ourselves, to heal the self, and to embrace ourselves and to present ourselves like I'm doing with this video. There's a lot of part of me that is understanding that this is not the best YouTube video that is out there, and I procrastinate a lot, wanting to do better and trying many ways to, I don't know. I didn't want to post a raw version like this at the beginning and thinking that it wouldn't catch up. And I don't even know if it is going to work. But at the same time, I realized that all the other version were too demanding for my capacity, and it didn't feel natural for me to write a script. You can see I posted a couple video of like 1 minute in shorts, maybe 3 years ago, and they were all scripted and they were filmed in like many cut, and then I would just read and then like talk for 3 seconds, and I would just read and talk for 5 seconds, and then puzzle the whole thing together with some effect, with some music and everything. And it was okay, but I it was just, it wasn't me. It was not. It didn't feel right. So eventually I stopped, and until like 2 days ago, I forgot that I wrote this book, and I forgot that I made all those images with my friend, and I've never did anything with it. And so now I don't have to think about the background because I'm hiding half with the figure, and I'm just going freestyle. And I feel that the fact that I don't have any script, the fact that I'm just talking from my heart, it feels already better for me. And that either there's zero view or nobody's watching it, I feel that is doing two things. It allow me to express myself in a way that I haven't expressed myself in a long time. I haven't speak about this kind of material. I'm not really trying to teach anyone or to guide anyone. Even if people are interested in spirituality, I haven't really like opened up about anything about my book to anyone or to the depth I am. So this is the first thing, and that I feel that I'm doing with this video. And the second thing is that I just have a phone for the first time in 2021, and for since '99 I cut my landline back in the old day before cell phone existed. I had a landline, and I even cut my landline before year 2000. Um, and I lived in a separate reality than most people. I had a lot of friends from my climbing community who didn't have phone at the beginning between 2007 and 10, and maybe I don't know 12. But I was definitely the last one of everybody I know who didn't own a phone. I lived in India for many years, and even the poorest people, everybody had phone. I was the only one to not have phone, and literally I got a phone because it was impossible to exist in reality and to function without a phone. Anyway, I travel by van. I lived in vans for I think more than 6 years in combined time, and I until the last time I was printing Google Map different level of zoom, and then like kind of figuring out with the road, and then sometime I would go hundreds of kilometers south to go back north because the scale of my map was too bad for me to figure out that I went too far south before going back up. But I didn't know. So I didn't know until so yeah. It's more life is more efficient with a super gadget. But I since 2021, I think for the first 2 years I didn't consume too much of it, but the last 2 years I've been binging on it in an unhealthy way, and I annoy myself because in 1999 I throw my television and my phone away because I was just addicted. I was not addicted to phone, never. I never liked phone. That's why I cut my landline. But I was addicted to television, and I had to throw it away because I just love watching everything. And it was not about entertaining, but more about learning everything. So I'm not really watching anything on Instagram or short form. It's mostly YouTube and sometimes Facebook. But at the same time, there's so much to learn, and eventually there's nothing to learn, and you don't want to watch anything, and you just stay stuck to your device. And I didn't know this would happen to me, and I have to admit I have this addiction now. And I feel that if I can have a creative outlet like what I'm doing right now, then at least it allow me to be part of creating instead of just binging on the creativity of others. Not that there's a problem with it, but at the same time, I feel it's like food. It's like it's not a problem to eat food, but if you eat too much, then it becomes unhealthy. And I just want to acknowledge within myself, and I feel that because I'm not working right now, and I don't have so much responsibility. I'm not married. I don't have kids, and so it's easy for me to justify the fact that I can just stay on my gadget if I have nothing to do. But at the same time, I feel misaligned and kind of depressive if I spend too many hours on my gadget. And the outlet of filming myself and expressing the depth of my heart and my soul into a product, a video, helped me to find balance somehow. And I really hope it will unlock something different in me by just starting it. I'm not sure where it's going to bring me, not sure what's going to be the outcome for how I'm going to do it. But for now, it feels right. It feels right to just like break free from that shell that I felt stuck in. And I feel it's just going to open doors if I just go forward instead of just procrastinate and like mentally block myself from obstacles that are non-existent. If I can, yeah. So that's it. This is already 30 minutes. Thank you for listening. This is the third video of the series. This is figure number 2. Yesterday was figure number 3. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go in order or I'm gonna go in disorder, but in total there's 100 in my book. Hundreds of those little pictogram images that are helping me to describe the content of the book, which is right here. And And I got good at expressing complex idea with picture. I mean, this is not the most complex one, but there's others. And I sometime I will use the one from the book, and sometime I will draft or draw other one on paper by myself, because I don't know how to do it on the computer, on the gadget right now. And I'm gonna go old school, and hopefully it's fine. And if you find benefit into what I'm sharing with you, if you like the content, just make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.